Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to number seven, lesson number seven, and firstly, the Nahu section of this lesson. Um, in this lesson, we're introducing something now. So far, all the sentences that we've done are mubtada khabar sentences. There is another main type of sentence, which is called a verbal sentence. That's called a noun sentence because mubtada and khabar are both nouns, and the sentence starts with a noun. While there's another type of sentence called a verbal sentence or a jumla fi'liya, right? So that sentence called jumla in Arabic means sentence. So jumla ismiya and jumla fi'liya. Jumla ismiya means a noun nominal sentence in English, because the mubtada khabar sentence called a jumla ismiya, and jumla fi'liya fi'l. We've learned that word before, fi'l af'al. Fi'liya because the sentence starts with a verb. Now we've learned verbs. We've learned the various different types of past, nasara, ma nasara, nusira, ma nusira, so forth. So now we're going to put them into a sentence, right? So let's start, and as you see with the examples, then you'll understand from the examples themselves. ذهب زيد إلى المدرسة. All right. So just some components. There's three components to a sentence. There's the fi'l, the verb itself, the fa'il, the subject, the doer of that verb, and maf'ul, the object, the one that receives the action that is done to. So here we have a sentence, ذهب زيد. That is the core sentence part of the sentence. That makes a jumla fi'liya. ذهب, he went. Now we learned before, if you say the word nasara, that's a complete sentence because it's got the verb and it's got the doer in it, which is the huwa inside of it. But if nothing is mentioned after dhahaba, we default to the pronoun that is hidden inside of it, meaning inside the verb. So the huwa, we refer to the huwa. He went, right? We learned it. Dhahaba, dhahaba, dhahabu. The first one, dhahaba, he went, right? But if you bring a noun after it, and it's got a dhamma there, dhammatain, in this case Zaydun, which is a name of a person. Zayd went to the madrasa. Zayd went to a madrasa, could mean madrasa like in a traditional, but madrasa means school. It's a word that's used for school today, like a primary school, secondary school. Dhahaba went Zayd. So this is Zayd went. That's past tense. So dhahaba is fi'l madi. You recognize that from before. Nasara Zaydun. Daraba Zaydun. Zayd hit. Right? And then there's this extra information. Ilal madrasati, to the school. Ilal madrasati. And that's the same if you put that's the extra information bit. So this is jar majroor, right? We recognize that from previous lesson. Ilal madrasati. It's got a kasra because it's majroor. Why is it majroor? Because it's got a harf jar, a preposition before it. So ilal madrasati. So dhahaba zaydun, and there's no object for this, right? You can't really have an object for this verb. He went, yeah, went. It's not. There's not a real object in the sense of which we'll learn in another sentence, right? ووصل إلى فصله, very similar structure. ووصل إلى فصله في الجامعة وجلس فيه. So this is like a separate sentence. ووصل إلى فصله, and he wasala means to reach, and he reached. Where's the he? That's in wasala, like I explained before. There's nothing after it. There's no other noun like zaydun. You could say ووصل زيد إلى فصله في الجامعة وجلس فيه, and sat in it. So ووصل, and he reached إلى فصله, to his classroom, right? في المدرسة أو في الجامعة, in the university. الجامعة is university. وجلس فيه, and that's a separate sentence. So إلى فصله, to his classroom. فصله is مضاف مضاف إليه. There's a ضمير there, attached pronoun at the end. he, right? إلى فصلي, it's فصلي. It's got a kasra because of the إلى مجرور, right? This is jar majrur, and he is مضاف إليه. The he takes a kasra. Why? Because there's a kasra before it, right? So it follows the harak of the word that it's joined to. Fil jamiyati, jar majrur again. Wa jalasa, now this is a separate sentence. Wa is and then jalasa fihi is a complete sentence. Jalasa, he sat. In it, fihi, another jar. This is a jar majrur. Now you got the damir, muttasil, there. It's attached to fihi, to harf jar. So fihi, he sat in it. Thumma, thumma dakhala, then he entered. Thumma is a conjugation, as we know. Then, so it gives you like order. You did this, then you did this, then you. ثم دخل المكتبة. دخل, who دخل? هو دخل. هو referring to, within دخل, referring back to زيد. مكتبة أستاذه الشيخ بكر القديمة في الباب الكبير. Now this is a convoluted sentence, but it's for us to learn. These sentences might be a little bit awkward, but it's just to bring and highlight the rules. Maybe this sentence, nobody will create this sentence structure ever, right? but the idea is that we can sort of, for analytical purposes, have some slightly complex sentence, and we will probably never make a convoluted sentence like this, but it's just to highlight all the rules. ثم دخل, then he enters. So دخل again, entered. We've done this verb before. مكتب, now this is a maf'ul, right? مكتب. So if you were to have دخل مكتبة, he entered a library, right? مكتبة. But this is mudaf to ustadi, and ustaz is then mudaf to he, right? His ustaz. The library of his teacher. The library of his teacher, right? The library of his teacher. So it's mudaf mudaf ilayh. This maktabatan, notice got a fatha there, right? The words after it's got a kasra, ustadi has got a kasra, but kasra is because it's majroor, because mudaf ilayh, right? But maktabat has got a fatha. The huwa is the fa'il inside of it. It's the doer, the subject, the doer of the action. The maf'ul, or the object, is maktabata. Hence it's got a fatha. And we'll see a few examples afterwards. Ash-shaykhi Bakrin. Ash-shaykhi is the same person, ustazi, his teacher, the shaykh. So notice shaykh has got a kasra as well. He's the teacher, the library of his teacher, Bakrin. Ash-shaykhi Bakrin, right? The library of his teacher, Shaykh Bakr. Right, and Bakrin is also, so Ustaz is the same person, Shaykh is the same person, Bakr is the same person. Right? Maktaba Shaykhi, Maktaba Shaykhi, Maktaba Ustazihi, Maktaba Bakrin. Right? Maktaba Bakrin. So they're like, this is Badal, Mubdal. This is the parallel, but it's the same thing repeating in different expression. Al-Qadimata is a sifa of Maktaba. Notice it's definite. Maktaba is definite because it's mudaf. And the sifa is definite by putting alif lam. It's got a fatha, it's got a fatha. It's feminine, there's also feminine. It's got a fatha at the end, it's got a fatha as well. Feminine, feminine, singular and singular also, right? Min al-bab al-kabiri. Min is harf jar, al-bab is majroor, extra information from the big door, right? From the big door or the main door. Min al-bab al-kabiri. Al-kabiri is a sifa al-bab. Notice that in all ways, gender, definite, both are definite, both have kasra, because this is also majroor because it's sifa, it matches in the four ways, singular as well. وَمَكَثَ فِيهَا لِمُدَّةِ سَاعَةٍ. He stayed there لِمُدَّةِ for the time period of a sa'a. لِمُدَّةِ سَاعَةٍ. Right? وَمَكَثَ فِيهَا. Right? He stayed in the huwa in it refers back to Zayd. Fiha in it, jar majroor. The ha is majroor, but it doesn't change because it's invariable. Right? Fiha limuddati, harf lam is harf jar. That's a preposition. Limuddati then becomes majroor. Sa'atin of an hour. He stayed in for وزار المكتبة شيخ الجامع. Right? The Zara is originally from Zawara. Right? But it's a madi. It's like dhahaba, wasala, dakhala, and so forth, but it's just in the middle is made into alif, and this is to do with the word changing, like qala and like qama and so forth, as we learn, inshallah. Zara, so this past tense. Zara who? Huwa, the huwa that's in it, which means he. Zara al-maktabata, that's the maf'ul. Notice al-maktabata here also is a maf'ul, it's got a fatha on it. Right? Zara maktab, visited, meaning he was doing, the he in it is doing the action of visiting to the maktaba. Shaykhul Jami'i. And Shaykhul Jami'i is actually the fa'id. Sorry, I made a mistake there. Zara, the doer of it is, so you can swap them around, right? As long as they're after the verb, right? So Zara al-maktabata, visited the maktaba. Shaykhul Jami', mudaf mudaf ilayh. Shaykhu, notice got a dhamm on it, it's the fa'il, it's the doer, right? Haythu, where, laqiya Zaydun, where Zayd met. Laqiya is a fi'al madi, laqiya, he met. Zaydun is the fa'il, al-shaykha. So let's take these three together, a basic fi'al, fa'il, maf'ul structure, verbal sentence, a jumla fi'aliyya. Laqiya Zaydun al-shaykha. Zayd met. Look at Zaydun's got a dhamma, look at shaykha's got a fatha. This is a fi'al, basic, simple fi'al, fa'il, maf'ul. Fi'al, the verb, fa'il, the dua, and maf'ul. In English, we put the doer at the start, then we put the verb, and then we put the object, right? The maf'ul. So Zayd hit, right? Zayd met the sheikh. Zayd met the sheikh. Zayd met, the verb comes in the middle, and the sheikh, the object comes after. Obviously, there's signs at the end. In Arabic, the dua, like a mubtada khabar sentence, they both have dhamma or dhammatain. The dua, the fa'il's got a dhamma or dhammatain. الشيخ وقرأ كتابا, and he read a book. وقرأ, and he read. قرأ, past tense. قرأ كتابا, a book. كتابا is indefinite, right? كتابا, a book. قرأ كتاب, it's مفعول. Again, فعل فاعل مفعول. Where's the فاعل? The فاعل is the هو in قرأ. قرأ هو كتابا, a book. And notice كتابا got فتحتين because it's مفعول. The sign of it being مفعول is فتحتين. وأخذه هو, and أخذ, he took it. وأخذه, he took him. إلى الشيخ, sorry, took it, referring to the book. وأخذه, he took it. The who here is an attached pronoun that is maf'ul, but it's invariable, so it doesn't have a, you don't put a fatha on it like the other maf'uls before, the other objects before. وأخذه, and he took it. إلى الشيخ, to the sheikh. في غرفته, in his room. فسأله, fa is a conjugation, fa then. It's like ثم, it gives you like a sequence, right? It could just be a like using instead of while, but it mainly is used for sequence. فسأله, who? سأل is a past tense. Who? He asked him, عنه, about it. ثم حضر درس اللغة العربية للشيخ. Then, then حضر, he attended. حضر means to be present. حاضر, as we learned, to be present. درس is مفعول, right? It's the object. The huwa in it is the fa'il. درس اللغة العربية, the lesson of the Arabic language of the Sheikh. Right? Dars literally means study, but basically you got mudaf mudaf ilay, dars al-lughati, and arabiyati is a sifa of lugha. So mawsuf sifa. Lish-shaykh is jar majroor, additional information, and hence the shaykh is majroor because li is there. وحسن الدرس في عينه, and the hasuna fi'al madi, hasuna الدرس, and the class في عينه, the class pleased him, literally was fine in his eyes. The fa'il here is darsu. The fa'il is darsu. Even though the fa'il is an inanimate object, right? It's an inanimate object, like it's an abstract thing, right? It's not a physical thing. The class pleased him. The class fi aini, meaning was fine or good in his eyes. All right. So here's some explanation about jumla ismiya, jumla fi'liya. Remember the mubtada khabar sentence. I didn't call this at the beginning mubtada khabar. I called it just mubtada. Sorry, I called it mubtada khabar. I didn't call it jumla ismiya. But the actual name is jumla ismiya. And the jumla fi'liya that we just learned, the fi'al fa'il, the noun, the sentence that starts with a verb is called a jumla fi'liya. These are the two most important sentences. Everything else is built around them. Generally, when you're talking about a description or a process, there are other structures as well, but basically 90% of the sentences that you'll be dealing with is either jumla ismiya or a verbal sentence or a nominal sentence, right? And the way you know that the beginning of the sentence is a verb or the beginning of the sentence is a noun. There's other things could be put just before it, and sentence can be rearranged with the mubtada put later and so forth. But basically, that is simply what the simple way to understand the Arabic sentence. All right. Let's have a look at this other. This is a letter. But this letter is based on the grammar rule. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is a basic. It teaches you how to write a letter to somebody. You might want to practice writing a letter, writing about your city or something like that, and practice simple. So the good thing about this book is that the original book that is based on, of course, I changed the sentences pretty much totally. I took a lot of examples from Introduction to Modern Arabic, but I've changed many to Islamicize it, so we build a Islamic vocabulary for our purposes. So let's start. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, as we always write Bismillah at the start. Azizi Umar, literally my dear Umar, or like as we say, dear so and so, right? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I don't think I need to explain that. ذهبت إلى حلب في فصل ربيع. So he's talking about he's visiting another city in Damascus, or sorry, in Syria. So ذهبت, I went, إلى حلب. Halaba is a word, and there's rules for this. There's certain words that are diptotes. They can't take a kasra. Remember that ila usually makes a word after a kasra. Halab is one, most likely is non-Arab in origin, and it's a proper name. It's a proper noun. So therefore, it can't take a fatha, a kasra. And the words that can't take a kasra, they also don't have tanween. So no, there's no tanween. Ila halaba fi fasli rabi'i, in the season of spring, meaning in spring. Rabi' is spring, right? Fi fasli, fi harf jar, fasli majroor because of the harf jar, and then fasli is mudaf to mudaf ilayh, rabi'. Fasli, the season of rabi'. وذهبت أختي معي. Remember in the tables that we learned, ذهب ذهب ذهبوا ذهبت, the fourth one, the first, she went. The ta indicates femininity. وذهبت, she went, أختي. So who's she? أختي, my sister. That's the fa'il. The fa'il here, the doer of the action, is ukhti, my sister. You can't see the dhamma because the ya has been attached. The ya has forced the ta, the ukht is sister. So let's say if you were to have not have the ya and you say a sister went, dhahabat ukhtun. Or if you said the sister, dhahabat al ukhtu. The sister went, al ukhtu. Right? But because the ya forced the kasra and it's definite by being mudaf, this is mudaf mudaf ilayh. Right? Dhahabat ukhti ma'i, with me. Ma'a is with. Ya again is there attached to this. Harf jar. Ma'i. Right. ونزلت في فندق دمشق. I stayed. Nazala means to really mean descend, but get down at or stay at في فندق دمشق. Dimashq, notice that it doesn't have a fat kasra. في فندق, this is mudaf, and Dimashq is mudaf ilayh, probably because it's non-Arab in origin. So Dimashq. ونزلت في فندق, the hotel is called, they're staying in Halab, which is Aleppo, and then فندق دمشق is Dimashq, the Damascus hotel. حيث نزلت أنت في السنة الماضية, where you stayed. نزلت, remember this word we did before. نزلت, أنت نزلت, you stayed. أنت نزلت أنت. So why would you repeat nazalta anta? Like this is for emphasis. When you repeat the same thing, it's fine. Nazalta would have been sufficed. But if you put anta, like where you stayed, is sanatil madiyati, in the last year. Madi is a sifa of sana. Sanatil madiyati. These are mawsuf sifa. Fi is harf jar, make the kasra, madiya follows it. It's feminine, it's also feminine as well, and all the things match. وزارت أختي في قلعة وزارت أختي قلعة حلب المشهورة. And my sister is زارت, the fourth one on the table, in the sarf table. زار زار زارو زارت. No, زارت, I'm explained before. زارت أختي, she the فاعل. قلعة مفعول, the fort or the حلب المشهورة. قلعة الحلب المشهورة. So قلعة حلب مضاف إليه, المشهور is صفة of قلعة, the famous fortress. Remember that in مضاف إليه you can't put the صفة in the middle. You can't put another word in the middle. The mashhur, the sifa of qil'a is put afterwards. Notice it's got a fatha there, that's got a fatha there too, because it's a maf'ul, it's an object. All right. And this is a statement that I researched a little bit, and what Salahuddin Ayyubi said. Qala, he said, Salahuddin. Literally the rectification of deen, you could say, the goodness of deen, all right, the well-being of deen, Salahuddin. قال صلاح الدين. صلاح الدين مضاف ضاف إليه. Right, صلاح الديني. Got a كسرة. قال صلاح الدين. So فعل and فاعل الأيوبي. Al-Ayyubi and صلاح الدين are the same person. Rahimahullah is put in brackets. May Allah have mercy. Rahimahu Allah. Rahima and Allah is the fa'il. Lafz Jalal is a fa'il of Rahima. Literally if translated, Allah had mercy on him. Rahimahullah. So Rahima is the fa'il. Who is the maf'ul? Allah, Lafz Jalala, the name of Allah is the fa'il. Rahimahullah. Allah have mercy. So notice that the maf'ul is first because it's a pronoun, and the fa'il is afterward, and it's got a dhamma. Allahu. Lafz Jalal, the name of Allah subhanahu, that is a fa'il. Rahimahullah. But there's a separate sentence, brackets. An halaba, about, he said about Halab. Right? What did Salahuddin say about Ayyubi rahimahullah say about Halab? An halaba, about Halaba. Right? An is harf jar. Remember, Halab is a diptoid, it's غير munsarif, it doesn't take a kasra. Ma surirtu, I was not made happy. Surira, sarra, surirtu. Surirtu, I was not made happy. This is the majhul form, the passive form of the verb. Sarra is to become happy. Surra is to be made happy by something else without mentioning what may have. But I was not made happy. Bifathi qil'atin, with the conquest of a qil'a, a fortress. A'adhamu, right? A'adhamu min sururi, greater in happiness than the my happiness. بفتح قلة حلب, than the conquest of the قلة حلب. فإذا فتحت حلب, if Halab is conquered, فتحت الشام كلها بعون الله, all of conquest. If Aleppo is conquered, then all of Sham, all of Levant, meaning Palestine, Lebanon, Jordan, all of it is conquered. وفي يوم الثاني, and in the second day, قصدت أنا, I set out. قصد means maqsad is from the goal, to set out. I set out أنا قصدت أنا, see how it's repeating it. أنا is there. قصدت is already telling I, but قصدت I intended, but it's for emphasis. قصدت أنا المسجد الأموي. I set out to Masjid Umawi. This is Mawsuf Sifa. And it's Maf'ul, right? And the way you know it's got a fatha there at the end, right? Al-Kabira, Mawsuf Sifa. Al-Masjid Al-Umawi Al-Kabira. So you got the most, أنا قصدت أنا المسجد. It's a Maf'ul, fatha. Then it's got two sifas. Al-Umawi Al-Kabir, the Grand Umayyad Mosque. ورأيت منبره الخشبية. And I saw its pulpit, mimbar, where you get the Jummah khutbah, the speech from in the raised platform. Right? Al-Khashabiyya, wooden. Right? I saw its mimbar wooden. I saw its wooden mimbar, pulpit. Right? وحلب في الحقيقة مدينة عظيمة. And Halab in reality is مدينة عظيمة. Halab is the mubtada. وحلب and مدينة عظيمة وصوف صفة is the khabar. في الحقيقة is additional information. في الحقيقة. So this is like jar majrur, but it's put in the middle, which you can make. صديقك Ali, your friend Ali, like regards Ali. So there's some exercises based on that, inshallah. You can do yourself, obviously. As for the table, so what we're adding today now, similar to Nasara, and then there was Ma Nasara. So there's Nusira also has a negative, Ma Nusira. Simply just putting a Ma at the start will make a negative. I won't go through all the detail because we explained that last. It's exactly the same. The only difference is there's a Ma at the start. Ma Nusira and Ma Nusira, Ma Nusiru. So Ma Nusira, he one male was not helped. He one male, Ma Nusira, those two males were not helped. So the actual do of the action is called majhul. It's manfi, madi. It should be really the other way around. Madi, manfi, majhul. Right? The start of madi, manfi, majhul. Right? Negative past, passive. Right? Okay. Ma nusira, ma nusira, ma nusiru, ma nusirat, ma nusirat till the end. And then you have this table, the exercise. The exercise is we can use the fi'l that suggested kariha, disliked. So you need to make, now you have, this is all this past tense you need to know, structure wise. So your kariha, he disliked, right? Then you got ma kariha, he did not. So that's a manfi ma'ruf. Ma'ruf is the active and majhul is the passive. So if you put here in these first two columns, muthbit, kariha, and in English he disliked. And then you got manfi, negative, ma kariha, he didn't like. Then you got the majhul, muthbit, positive, kuriha, he was disliked. He was disliked, right? And then you got manfi, ma kuriha, he was not disliked. He was not disliked, right? And then you fill the 14 of that. By this point, you've basically covered the past tense structure-wise. There's other elements of it that will come, but you need to like drill this. Once you got kariha, or like for example, nasara, nasara, nasaru till the end, and then you've got nusira, nusira, nusiru at the end. Really, you've got a whole and ma nasara, and nusira, and ma nusira. These have to be repeated over and again until you know perfectly. So if I throw a verb at you, you can reproduce these 4 columns, right? If I throw to you like darasa, studied, right? Or qatala, he killed, right? You should be able to qatala, qatala, qatalu. They have that structure of the 14, 6 and 6 and 2, and then 3, 3, 3 masculine, mudhakkar, 3 muannas, and so forth, right? You should have this imprinted now on your mind. All right. Hadith for memorization. Man samata naja. Man samata naja. Whoever samata is silent or remains is silent, past tense, right? Man samata naja, the one who keeps quiet, right? Naja is also past tense. They're both past tense. Samata naja. Whoever was silent is saved. Whoever was silent was saved. But it translates whoever is silent is saved, right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding. Due to many afflictions caused by the tongue, either it should be used for good, such as tilawah, speaking that which is beneficial, etc. And if someone cannot do that, then to save himself from committing sins, one should remain silent. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and tawfiq to practice what we say here. Jazakumullah khairah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.